Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So we'll now start looking at the financial statements. So there are two kinds of financial statements in any Indian annual report of a major company. One is the standalone report, and another is a consolidated report. Obviously, our focus will be in the consolidated report, but I'll just give you a brief idea what is standalone. So any large business has subsidiaries, joint ventures, and associates other than their main company. That's how they are structured, so that that's in their best legal interests. That's a whole different topic why they do that. But there are some accounting, uh, like kind of benefits for that too that we'll discuss later on. So in the standalone, they just present what is the company's standalone thing, and in the consolidated, they consolidate, they add up all the financial performance of their other associates, subsidiaries, and joint ventures, and they add to that. So that's the difference. So if you're trying to look at a company's overall performance, you have to look at the consolidated financial statement. That will give you the most accurate picture. Okay, so let's look at that. So here, page 210 has the balance sheet, then profit loss statement, cash flow, and stockholders' equity. So those four are the important statements that one needs to look at. Okay, so page 210. So let's look at that. Okay, so let's go there. Oops. So this is the balance sheet. Okay, consolidated balance sheet, all in rupees and crores. And then we have the income statement, cash flow statement, and the stock changes in equity. So these four are the core statements. Obviously, you need to have a basic understanding what they mean. If not, I would really recommend you take up some basic course on what are basics of financial statements, and they'll be pretty easy to follow. Just as a you know another just want to give you something about me. I'm actually an engineer. I have like zero accounting background, but I just started grading. Obviously, it took me time, and I eventually I'm able to follow. So even though I'm a software engineer by profession, but I can follow any financial statement you give me. So it's not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward. They have different rules, and if you know plus and minus, you'll be able to get it. So believe me, if I can do it, you can certainly do it if you have a basic aptitude. So what I've done here is I've copy pasted those about the financial statements here so that we can go back and forth. We don't have to be there. I'll tell you why. Because when you're looking at the footnotes, you have to do that. So let's look at here. So this is where we'll start. Okay. So what does the balance sheet give you? So the balance sheet has two parts, assets and liabilities, and the difference between that is the book values, the equity. So in a layman's term, assets is what the company has, liabilities is what the company owes. You subtract asset and liabilities, you figure out what is the book value, that means what's the net worth of the company. And this is obviously different than the market capitalization, which is equal to the number of the value of the share price per share into the number of shares outstanding. So usually in a large corporation that is growing, the market capitalization is way over the book value. That means the investors are thinking the company is going to make a way lot of more money than actually what it has currently. So which is a pretty fair assumption. So, but as an analyst, you have to figure out what will be that extra things. It's like as Mr. Buffett has always pointed out. The valuation is nothing but birds in the hand was and birds in the bush. So the birds in the hand is what you have today. What's the cash they have in their bank, and their current inventory and things like that. The birds in the bushes, all the sales they're going to make in future, because of which they're going to get the cash back, and all the money they have to spend back as capital expenditure to create more factories and all. So that the sales they're going to get in future minus the capital expenditure is the birds in the bush. So it's like, you value bird in the hand more. So bird in the bush, you always are like, I don't know how many it will be and when they'll come out. That's another thing. So that's the philosophy. Keep that in mind. So now let's look at the non-current assets. So here I'll tell you a very important thing that I observed, that you need to be careful while evaluating this kind of business. So Hero Motors has also another associate company called Hero Finance. So basically, like if you go and buy a motorcycle and you want to finance it through the dealer, they get it done through Hero Finance. I mean, there are different things they do around it, but the main thing that the main point what I'm trying to make here is the leverage. Now, why leverage is important? So the leverage is basically a tool that means, let's say you start a business and you have cash of 1 crore rupees. Let's say you're starting a trucking business. You hire 100 trucks, and you uh, you hire drivers and they go around and you know they make you some money. Now what you can do is you can also put in 1 crore and borrow 1 crore. So now what is happening is you have double the trucks. Obviously, you will be giving back as an interest to the bank, but if you can keep refinancing, so let's say you've taken a loan for 5 years and you're paying the bank 15%, and you can refinance, and let's say out of that 1 crore you've taken a loan, 15% you're paying, that means 15 lakhs you're paying, and you're making 18 lakhs. So 18 minus 15 is 3 lakhs. So the 3 lakhs is you got extra profit just by leveraging, which is good. But what happens is there is only till certain extent you can do. So let's say a guy keeps leveraging, instead of he has 1 crore cash, but he goes and borrows 5 crores. Okay, good. The economy is good, he's going. Let's say it goes down. Let's say the economy shrinks next year. All the banks that have given him that additional 4 crore rupees, they're going to come after him. If you can't pay the interest, they're going to foreclose. Boom, he's done, because what they're going to do is they're going to confiscate all the trucks, they're going to sell it off, and he's bankrupt. So and not only that, he's also going to lose his trucks, because those trucks will be valued less, and the business will be shut down only because he leveraged more than what was needed. Let's say there was another guy who did not do that. He just kept his thing. So if the economy goes down, he just maybe, some trucks he'll idle it, he'll sustain it, and the economy comes up, he'll again get back to business. So you see the dangers of leverage. They are good, but they really come back and bite a business when the things go down. So here the reason I'm trying to tell you is, if you look at the balance sheet here, obviously, things look pretty good for the company. They have total assets of about 17,000 crores, and they're pretty healthy. Their cash, the total cash they have with the investment. So basically, the cash in the hand that they usually keep very less for the sundry expenditure. Mostly they put it in some fixed like money market investments and all. They have about 5,500 crores. It's pretty liquid company. But now if you look for the liabilities, they don't have any borrowings. So you're like, wow, right? So if you see the non-current borrowings other than the trade payables, so their debt is really less. So the trade payables is basically their payment to all their suppliers. So if you look at the trade payables and the receivables, so the trade receivables are 1,400 crores. Okay, that's the amount they're supposed to get from their dealers and all those people. And the trade payable is 3,300. So this is a really good sign. That means they're negative. That means they're holding cash and then paying off their suppliers after some time, which is a good trend. That means they are a well-established company. Their suppliers don't have problem extending them extra time because they are giving them more business to. So the working capital needs are really less. Everything looks spot on, good, right? But there is a caveat. I'll tell you what. So if you go here and let's start looking at footnotes. The footnote number 9 is really going to blow your mind. So what is happening here is I'll try to explain you in plain English as much as possible, because you will now have to understand a little bit about the accounting rules, which I've not covered a lot till now. So let me first bring up that portion. So which page is that? That is page 236. So here, let's look at page 236. Or here. So what they are saying is summarized financial information in respect to company's material associates is set out below. And this is about Hero Finance Corporation, which, if you look at it, is really a leveraged company. So its non-current assets and current assets, if we add, it is about 13,500 crores. And if you add their liabilities, they are about 11,200 crores. So 13,500 divided by 11,800. This is like a highly leveraged business, right? But guess what? None of this is actually shown in the balance sheet. What they do is they subtract this 13,500 with uh, whatever 11,200, which gives around 2,300, right? So 13,500 and 11,200 is about 2,300 crores, around that. And that they put it as an equity. Now I explain you what is this all about. So there are two types of accounting. So if you look here, let me bring up cheat sheet. So I have a small guide to understanding Indian accounting standards. So an associate, so basically this is an associate, right? So let's go back here and again refresh. Uh, so investments in associates. So they're talking about what kind of money they have put in associates. Now, what the accounting rule states is an associate is an entity over which the group has significant influence and power. The results and assets liabilities are incorporated using the equity method accounting, except when the investment is classified held for sale, in which there is a different rule. And under the equity method accounting, an associate is initially recognized in the balance sheet at cost and adjusted thereof to recognize the group's shares of profit or loss and other comprehensive income of the associate. I'll explain in a very plain English what it means. So let's get back to the trucking business, right? So let's say if you got 1 crore, you want to finance other 4 crores. What are you going to do is instead of you taking a loan, you create a like an associate. Let's say you have a Sunny Trucking Company, and that new company you start is Sunny Finance Company. Okay, something like that. Now, that Sunny Finance will borrow the money and then lend to you. So it will have certain, so it will take on all the leverage. And whatever is the equity of that company, you will only show in your balance sheet. So that means your balance sheet really look nice, right? So instead of you having 5 crore of